Hey, friends. Just a great day out here. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about AI. I'm Mark with Focus. Just want to talk about why does AI sometimes not fulfill all those crazy promises out there that everybody says it's going to deliver? Well, looking at the experts, MIT, they went and did a study of 300 real deployments of AI and said, hey, 95% of these organizations that have invested in generative AI are really not getting a whole lot of benefit out of it. Rand also ran a sample analytics, found 80% failure rate across enterprise AI initiatives. So what's going wrong? Why are AI initiatives and projects, even though, man, this is going to be the greatest thing since sliced bread, why are they just not panning out? And, we see it daily in the healthcare space. And there's really one underlying reason why. It's the fact that the data, the context, the information that these organizations are using to run their projects in AI, the data isn't clean. The source isn't right. The information to feed into the engine isn't right. We keep seeing it play out in healthcare. A practice invests in some AI tool, a bot, a widget, what have you. The team tries to use it, and the outputs, what they want it to do, it comes back unreliable. Not, totally wrong, but just off enough so that people stop trusting the results. And, within a few months, the whole thing quietly gets kind of set aside or shelved because they invested a whole lot of time, a bunch of tokens, a bunch of people and manpower in this thing and didn't get the results they were looking for. The reason, again, why we see this is almost always the same. In healthcare, you've got clinical data. It's spread across an EHR system, a PM system. You got billing platforms and claims. You got reports coming in from various vendors. You might have an HR system or a marketing system that, you want to stitch that data together. But, you also have historical data. Let's say you did an EMR migration or a data conversion project over the last decade, and maybe you've done a couple of them, which, aren't typically that fun. And, they've got this promise that all the data is going to match up, properly. Well, what happens is when AI gets their hands on it, it says, well, wait a second, I don't know how to really connect all the dots. And don't get me started. Let's talk about healthcare practices that are growing, acquiring additional practices and trying to merge all that data together from multiple systems that have gone through multiple data conversions or migration efforts. And now the problem gets exponentially worse and just compounds. What happens is AI can't understand all this data. There's just too many gaps in the context to stitch it all together. It just works with whatever AI it can reach and, tries to connect the pieces, but the foundation, the data isn't clean. It's fragmented. So the outputs and the result of AI, those are fragmented and not factual either. So, talking a little bit about the practices that we work with in healthcare that are getting real value out of their AI initiatives and projects and investments, they all took the same first step. They got their data foundation right before they went and, invested in a tool or a bot or a widget or a deployment. Before they even talked to an AI vendor out there, they made sure that their data was solid to begin with. Because the underlying data, the foundation of the information to feed into these tools, is probably the most important thing. So if you're being asked about your AI strategy, the honest starting point isn't which tool to plug in next. It's, is my data in a state where the next tool can actually deliver what I expect from it? At Focus, that's where we start. Get your data clean, get the foundation established, then look at the next thing to plug in. I'm Mark with Focus. Thanks for joining me.